Now, what would you do if you're a police officer and you're responding, gun drawn, cocked and raised, to a call dispatching you to an active shooter situation, where you encountered an agitated, disturbed man waving a big black Glock around his head, threatening to blow his brains out? This was a simulation at the Sunrise Community Police Academy of what policemen sometimes experience. Such simulations are based on actual police academy training, emphasizing how police officers risk their lives responding to calls. When someone is packing a pistol, you can never predict exactly what they will do. This academy is offered free to citizens interested in learning more about the challenges faced by police on their everyday patrols. And in Sunrise, they meet once a week in the evenings for 12 weeks. And I might add that wherever you live in the United States, many of the points we reflect on will be applicable to your community. In this simulation, the frenetic young man was talking a mile a minute, waving his big black Glock around, and then quickly popped off some rounds at each of us, a simulated police officer. Every student in our class was shot, failing the simulation. We asked, why be quick to shoot someone who's clearly mentally disturbed? Which would have been our last question in real life. This is one of the many simulations that police practice, some based on real-life encounters, some recordings of actual events. In their continued training, police officers review dozens of simulations so they can make proper split-second decisions in life and death situations, both to protect their own lives and to follow department policies. Now, caution is a policeman's main defense against bullets headed their way. Police are rarely in a rush to approach the driver during a traffic stop, nor are they in a rush to knock on the door for a domestic dispute call. If possible, they wait until other policemen arrive. The more backup, the better. Not surprised to learn how policemen respond to other police pulling them over when they're in other jurisdictions. They politely roll down their windows, put their hands on their steering wheels, and tell them that they too are police officers. They volunteer where they have their guns, which all policemen carry. They don't put any documentation in the glove box because they don't want to reach in and grab it. And they're careful to do this because they know how traffic stops are especially dangerous for police officers. Only a few traffic stops each year have the potential to turn into shooting matches, but they cannot accurately predict which ones. What scares policemen is they can't tell if guns are real by their appearance. They've seen Hello Kitty guns and other devices, such as power drills, disguised as guns. And we asked the police instructors, what has changed in policing? And many respond that the biggest change is the rapidly evolving technology, especially with body cameras and microphones. Many police were wary of body cameras when they were first introduced, but now police see far more advantages than disadvantages. Now they are better able to defend themselves against baseless accusations that they use too much force. These are not ordinary cameras. Most cameras are far more sensitive to white light than the human eye. For example, if you take a picture of a Christmas display, the white lights will often drown out the colored lights. In contrast, at night and in low lighting, police cameras mimic human perception. Over many decades, more police departments have permitted police officers to take their cars home, which increases their visibility. Rarely do police have partners. Their laptop is mounted permanently in the passenger seat, since all dispatching is done through the computer. Multiple police cars answer most calls. The more the better to ensure officer safety. With today's technology, police can now generate a three-dimensional rendition of traffic accidents and crime scenes through a combination of cameras and laser scanners. At the crime scene, bullet hole trajectory rods can help to identify where the shooter was standing. What are the most dependable types of evidence? Fingerprints and DNA. Different techniques have been developed to draw fingerprints from many different types of surfaces. But even when fingerprints have not been left behind, often police can swab trace amounts of DNA from surfaces the suspect has touched, including the skin of the crime victims. Many other types of forensic evidence are less reliable, including shoe and tire track matches, matching shell casings, and blood-stain pattern analysis. Today there's greater awareness that eyewitness testimony can be problematic. Witnesses to crimes are under severe emotional stress. Most people cannot quietly observe their surroundings when their adrenaline is flowing, particularly when their life is in danger. What is often overlooked is how heavily policemen rely on the conscientiousness of unseen lab technicians. This is true for even very reliable types of evidence, such as fingerprints. Just because fingerprints are unique, that doesn't mean that there aren't close matches. Whether really close matches are confused with direct matches depends on the diligence and judgment of the lab technicians. particularly when they're evaluating partial or obscured prints. Now, this is beyond the scope of this article, but you can ask Dr. Google about the reliability of forensic evidence. Some articles are written by law firms, but many are written by credible independent parties. And to withstand legal challenges and fairly assess guilt, police detectives must thoroughly document the crime scene and afterwards closely examine the crime lab reports. What is the least popular change in policing? And for most people, the least popular new technology items are the red light cameras. The video recording the violations is reviewed by the police before the fine is assessed, at least in Sunrise, Florida. Unfortunately, the speeding fines in Florida are set by state law, and the local police agencies cannot reduce them. Fortunately, the camera citations do not accrue points against your driver's license. But if you contest the tickets, the court may assess additional fines since these videos are considered reliable evidence. Many parents have complained that too many drivers ignore the school zone speed limits. In response, the city of Sunrise, Florida is installing cameras to monitor these speed limits. The cameras will monitor compliance with the 15-mile-per-hour speed limit when the warning lights are flashing. Currently, the speed will be monitored 30 minutes before and after the school crossing time, although this may be extended later. What else has changed in policing? Police protocols have drastically changed since the tragedy of the Parkland shooting, where a teen gunman quickly shot down nearly 36 students before evading the police. Before, in an active shooting scenario, police often waited until a SWAT team arrived, if practical. Now, police understand, by bitter experience, that in minutes many innocent victims can be shot by AR-15s and other modern assault weapons. Police protocol has changed. Now, police are expected to respond immediately. We asked an experienced officer whether movies like Dirty Harry had formed unrealistic expectation among the public that all policemen, backed up by their Smith & Wesson, could easily defeat heavily armed suspects. She pushed back, explaining that her family knew what they signed up for, that police have responsibilities towards everyone else's children when on duty. Sometimes they're required to risk their lives. That's just part of their job. Now, police protocols in dealing with barricaded armed suspects have been influenced by the urban combat experience of the military in the villages of Afghanistan, including when they serve warrants on suspects considered armed and dangerous. Big change is that, unless there are hostages, the police are reluctant to rush in. They prefer to be methodical. They only storm in as a last result, or if any hostages are in imminent danger. In the 90s, SWAT teams were often criticized as an unwanted militarization and dehumanization of the police force, encouraging Dirty Harry behavior. However, what police have learned from the military is that, when clearing buildings of potential hostile actors, an overwhelming show of force is often not desirable. A joint report from the FBI and Marine Corps in 2021 stated that, over time, the military, and by extension law enforcement, have gone from dynamic entries to what is known by a slow clear entry. Slow clearing means that the teams deliberately and methodically clear rooms. Instead of quickly flowing into a room, teams took the time to assess the room they were going in, issue commands, and control the room before entering. There are times when a call-out is conducted before entry. A bullhorn is used to instruct everyone inside to exit. This is the preferred method when dealing with a barricade situation, a suicidal person, or someone with a mental illness. All these scenarios are usually reactive. And technology gives the police more options in these situations. If they break a window, they can throw in a throwbot with both a camera and a phone to talk to the suspects. If they can open a door, they can send in a self-propelled robot with a camera and a phone. They can use a Bearcat boom to safely penetrate a building. And plus, they have tear gas to incapacitate the suspects and flashbang NFDD grenades to startle them. How often is the Sunrise, Florida SWAT team called out? There are serious incidents about 30 times a year. They can also request assistance from the Broward County Sheriff's full-time SWAT team. And the certified police officers keep their SWAT gear in their patrol cars. The city has 2 SWAT cars that are both used for SWAT calls, and anytime the police request a bulletproof vehicle. How have changes in our culture affected policing? Although there's a fentanyl epidemic our society has been dealing with, there are fewer drug violations than there were 20 years ago. Whereas it was common for teenagers to engage in fistfights decades ago, this is far less common today. When applicants to the police academy are asked if they've ever been in a physical fight, Most report that they have not. The discussion about whether to defund the police has diminished, and the trend is for the police to become more aware of mental health issues, including dementia, autism, schizophrenia, and homelessness. Police are shedding their paramilitary reputation. Today, often police cadets have backgrounds in social work. In our final reflection, we will reflect on police and mental illness, training for police dogs and their handlers, and the 911 call center technology. Now I'll discuss the sources I use for this video. Now most police departments in the FBI have community police academies that meet once a week, usually in the evenings, to allow the public to sample actual police officer training through simulations, tours, classroom training, and riding with the police on the beat. These classes are ideal for those considering a career in law enforcement. In Sunrise, Florida, once you take the course, you can be considered to be a community service aide if you wish. Now, when researching this video, I learned about several books on the militarization of the police. These were written about 20 years ago. Today, police are now more compassionate and more aware of the mental health challenges faced by those who may be striking out at their neighbors. And we will review these, and there may be follow-up reflections on these topics in the next year or so. Although the Police Academy is the major source for this reflection, I have consulted other online resources to round out my knowledge in many of these areas. And if you wish to see which sources I use, please feel free to consult my blog, which has footnotes. The YouTube description includes a link to our PowerPoint script that we uploaded to SlideShare and also our blog. Please support this channel by sharing this video with your friends and by clicking on the like and subscribe buttons and by clicking on the Amazon links to purchase any of the books we discussed, which will earn us a very small affiliate commission. And please consider becoming a patron of our channel. Plus, we will host special discussion groups for our patrons. Plus, you can click on the Meetup or small M icon to participate in our online discussions, where we practice our future YouTube scripts. And please click on the links for other videos that will broaden your knowledge and improve your soul.